Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips for easily ignite your full spectrum wealthy life. Join us every Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific with your friends and families because we all want and deserve to be healthy and wealthy and happy. This podcast is done with G100 Global Networking and powered by Anchor FM. Anchor FM is the super awesome free podcast made easy platform. And for this week, we are so thrilled and honored to welcome Andrew. Andrew, would you care telling us what is it that you do?
Oh, hi. Thanks so much, Dr. Birgitte. It's a pleasure to be here and to be on this side and on your show. So to begin, what do I do? Presently, I have a YouTube channel called 90 Seconds of Wisdom. And I release a video every single Saturday where it's as the title mentions, it's about 90 seconds. Sometimes I go a little bit longer to between 90 seconds and 3 minutes, but a short message of usually just what I'm meditating on that week, what's hitting me. And each of them, there's like a catchphrase that I have, when I start my show. And basically, it's to expand your knowledge and develop a more successful and peaceful mind. So that's always around that. And that's how I choose the content. I said, will it expand their knowledge, of course, in a more spiritual way? And will it lead to a more successful and peaceful mind?
Oh, that is so beautiful. And that is so I just find it so precious that it is 90 seconds in this busy day of our life because a lot of time that's really all we have, with 90 seconds, 2, 3 minutes, not an hour or three. Great if you all have 3 hours every week to be sitting around and listening to things, but many people don't, and not myself either. So that's wonderful. So what brings you to do this message, to do your YouTube channel and creating this message? What brings you to do this?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So, a few years ago, I was working for a company called Sono Speaker Company, and it was great, wonderful people, wonderful job. And then they went public, so they basically just cut 100 jobs. They were very generous. They gave me a very nice package. Everyone I work with, I cannot say how enough kind things about them. My team, my manager, everyone, wonderful people. But it gave me an opportunity. So like the universe, it presents an opportunity for you. So I said, okay, what's the opportunity here? And the opportunity, I said, I use that to write my book. And it's not, my book is a guide. You have a real book, okay? You have like books, right? You're a real author. Mine is, it's a short guide book, and I wrote it again to help people, and it's called Smart Guide to Stop Using Stupid Words. And what it is just to help people, because it's one of the things I realized very early is that people use a lot of self-sabotaging words. Like my friend just the other day, 2 days ago, he said, well, every winter I never see the word sick, right? If you read my book, you'll know that, right? Which I know you have. So I use unhealthy. And it's all based on the principle of don't think of a pink elephant. Well, you have to think of a pink elephant, not to think of it, right? So I only negate positive words. And occasionally I will slip up. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but all in all, anyone around me, the one of the words I dislike the most is sick. So I always say unhealthy. And I always say, and when I read this somewhere, someone very wise said this. They said, you should never say as a noun, like I have a cold. You should say I am colding, because it should be a process where you get this kind of cold and then you come out of it. It's too firm. Like I have a cold is like I have a pen, No, it's not the same thing at all. So I think a lot of magic in words, and they say spelling is like spells and words, and has so much influence, and then what we program, what we use as our words programs our subconscious mind. And what is it, 90% of our whole reality is based off of programs that are in our subconscious mind. So once we get that work done, which I know you've done tremendous amounts, and your mentality is very, very impressive to me. And you have to weed out all the bad ones, but you got to find, it takes years to weed out all those buried little monster things that are in your brain. So I use can't see it really too well, but I have affirmations always behind me, a little vision board, mini vision board, use affirmations, and try to just inundate myself with positivity.
Right.
I lost I went off on a tangent there to the actual question. So I wrote the book. Yeah, that was it. Wrote the book based on words. After that, I said, where do I go from here? And I have a very good friend of mine named Shabazz Mansouri, and he's a very spiritual guy. And I would talk to him a lot about, hey, what should I do next? What do you think? And he said, look, I was teaching so many courses. I did, of course, Mary Morrissey course. One of her paid courses was wonderful. And I did so many courses, and I was obsessed. Every webinar, I would do at least 2, if not 3 2-hour webinars a day. And I did that for over almost a year and a half. I would wake up at 3 in the morning to do a 2-hour webinar, go back to sleep like 9 a.m., whatever. Every single thing I would sign up and just listen and absorb and absorb and absorb. And
you were hungry. You were hungry for all the empowering message and knowledge.
Exactly, right. And it's to see, I always look at these common like Mary Morrissey, let's say, was very close and friends with and learned with Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who I'm a huge fan with, who I actually saw when he came to Montreal many years ago. God bless his soul, because he's passed away now. So you look at these messages and the common messages, and you start seeing these circles. Okay, this is what's common. And once you see them so many times, and it's just reinforcing, and that reinforces as truths to me. So, there's a great saying that says, you should not be scared of what you don't know. It's the things you think you know, but you're wrong. Right. So that always scared me, because you're building like a tower or a castle, and you're assuming that this piece is, but what if that one is wrong? Right. So this is kind of something that I really wanted to make the base of my learning correct, and learning from so many, many people. I'm getting to my point. I know I'm very long-winded with the answer, but I'm getting there. Enjoy this journey, please, with me. So then the next point, I asked him, I said, what should I do? And he said, he literally told me, buy this camera. And he's very camera shy, right? So he's like, buy this camera, buy this stuff. And I said, okay. And I don't like cameras. I've never liked being filmed. I'm not a picture. I always forget to take pictures and stuff like that. And I like to enjoy the moment, live in the present, not record. I just want to be fully present in the now. So I got this set up. 3 months, I had the camera, everything there. Every time I went to record, I was scared. I was so intimidated, because it's so weird recording yourself on camera. And so I record, and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so much anxiety. I turn it off. And then right when it was right, I don't want to bring up COVID, but right when COVID started in March, that's when I said, okay, it's time. So through meditation, through my friend's advice, through all the things, I was being prepared. Had already bought everything, was all set up. And I said, well, why? And then boom, we all got shut down. And I said, this is it. And I was told, it's time to bring, because I'm taking all this knowledge in for my whole life. And my friend said, it's time to get the knowledge, to share this knowledge with other people. What's the point, Bill? It's good for me, and I live a very blessed life, a super blessed life, but I wanted to help other people. So he said, well, why don't you just do a short? He said, search something short. So we literally just were on a phone call, and we say short, like, how about like a minute, or like 90 seconds, or like, oh, let's just do 90 seconds of wisdom. So we ended up calling it 90 seconds of wisdom. And then after, the first episodes are just horrible. Everybody that starts a YouTube channel is just it's embarrassing. I left them all there. So if you ever want to laugh, you can watch my first episodes. They're just brutal. I have weird background that's moving. I don't know what I was doing, just a mess. But I just with the good intention, right? The power of intention for believe. Great book by Dr. Wayne Dyer. So I'm just trying to have the intention of helping people. And then very quickly after about 2 months of that, I started my podcast, which thank you that you were a guest on, called 90 Minutes of Wisdom. And we did an hour-and-a-half podcast with many, many wonderful people, you being one of them. And that was because I didn't like the focus being on me. I said, I'm not that type of person. And then so I said, how can I get this? And then I was speaking with Stefan Marai from Brand Van 3000, the singer of Brand Van 3000. She's a personal friend of mine. She also did a podcast with me. And I was talking to her, and we just had this conversation, and then it was about like, let's just do a podcast. And she's like, you should just do a podcast. And I was like, yeah. And so it was like on a Monday. On a Friday, I did my first podcast. Like I just thought of it, and I'm just like, go. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I just hit record and just started off there and said, I measure my life by how many people I can help, right? It's spiritual wealth and physical wealth. And so fill your bank with spiritual wealth, because when you leave this body, this 3D, this whatever, we have our meat bodies. When we leave this, you take the spiritual wealth with you. Below your bank account, yes, fill your bank account with money, but you leave that behind. So that's a big goal of mine, is always I call it filling my spiritual bank account.
That's wonderful. That's really, and now it sounds like, you are, and you are very diligent and very disciplined. I have woken up at 3:34 in the morning to do certain thing, including write the book that you're mentioning, as well as a couple other books. But definitely, I was not as, let's just say, motivated for you to be waking up at 3 in the morning to listen to webinar. Yeah, you can't pay me to do that. But yeah, it was, very interesting that you mentioned that. It's the funniest thing. I remember this time, I tend to stay very healthy. I stay very healthy. And like you said, a lot of people say, oh my God, winter coming, and then therefore I will get whatever they will get. And I stay healthy, and I stay healthy, and I stay healthy. And then one winter, a few years back, and I practice like what you said, to be mindful with my words, to be mindful with my thoughts, because our words come from our thoughts. And one winter, I just had a really, really bad cold. I experienced all these really, really interesting symptoms of a bad cold. And one after another, did this and that. And I finally said, this is ridiculous. What the heck? And I went to a Reiki master. Thankfully, there's a Reiki master nearby me. And I was like, what on earth? So I went to see her, and she starts speaking with me, and she did her Reiki, and she's like, you're fine, you'll be fine. And she said, so what's going on? Usually you are healthy and something like, and this and that. And then I start talking to her, and I said, yeah, it is such a, at that time I was still working in the clinic as an oncologist. I said, even the vegan, that's usually super healthy, got sick. She said, oh, so you think the vegan got usually super healthy got sick, you're going to get sick too. Isn't that what happened? I said, oh my goodness. And after that, I said, okay, I will stay healthy regardless of whomever, whether it's the cat or the vegan or the meat eater or whomever, regardless of what's going on with them, I will stay pristinely healthy. And I'm so glad I adopted that mental approach, that cautiousness, as you say, because I actually stay healthy through the whole pandemic and everything. I got pulled back to work at the clinic and over time, and regardless of what exposures I was exposed to, I just stay pristinely healthy. And so very interesting for anybody who wants to be healthy during winter time or wherever, like Andrew says, you only use word like you say that indicate healthy, that you stay healthy, and don't use any other word. So is this book available for people to find somewhere?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So it's on Amazon. You can buy it Amazon, for US, Amazon.ca, and for Canada, Australia, pretty much every country. It's also available in audiobook.
Oh,
And so we did, a friend of mine, Bruno, a fantastic musician. He helped me. He did the voice for that. And so I did an audiobook, physical book, and Kindle version. So you can buy it in any format you like. And yeah, it's I recommend it. All the money from that book I give to charity, all of it. So it's when I promote the book, it's purely just it's just to help more people, right? To get more. I want everyone to have that book so that they can live a better life. And the purpose of that, the overlying, if I'll go into a deeper level, is raising the subconscious, the universal subconscious vibrational level, right? So this is the goal. It's like when I did a video on this, and I remember from some wise people saying you need a mission statement. All of us need a mission statement. Like, I know you have a very clear mission statement. If you don't know what your mission is, you can go off track too easily. One day you wake up, you're going this way, you're going that way. So what is it? Why do I wake up in the morning? Why do I do these things? Why do I do a video? Sometimes it's last minute. Sometimes I have to stay up super late to do it. Sometimes, I don't feel like doing it, but I do it anyways. And it's because I want to raise, the universal consciousness. And we all have a vibrational level as individuals. We have collective vibrational levels, and then we have a universal, which is the whole world together. So by helping people just a little bit here and there raise their vibrations, we're actually raising the whole universal consciousness. And this is so important. And when you spoke about health before, from the book, I will often reference Power versus Force, right, from
yeah.
Dr. Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
And he, the COVID itself has a vibration, right? It has a hertz. It has a measurable, through kinesiology, a measurable level. And if you're higher than that level, you can't get COVID. I mean, and this is, it's just that it's not a match. You're not a vibrational match. Right. Now, there's you always keep in mind, and this is the last, I know I go off on huge long answers, but if you bear with me, this is something else that I think is really, really important. It's staying humble. Okay. It's staying humble, and it's having this confidence and this humility. So it's not saying, oh, I will always be healthy. Look at me. And this is ego. And if it comes from the ego, I promise you the opposite will happen, because God or the universe will say, oh, really?
Yes.
Because it's ego-based. Now, if it's not ego-based, but it's truth-based, and you say, I will always be healthy, and you're grateful. Thank you, Father. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe, for my perfect health. Then it will be so.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. There's a difference between being arrogance or ego as well, and actually just having a confidence. And a lot of times we know when it's from multiple psychology, those who's really kind of like having a lot of arrogance or something, it's actually, this is sidetracking, but it's actually a lot of time that's because of the person who are doing that actually lacks of confidence, and it's kind of like almost like a shell. But tell us again, what's the title of your book?
It's called Smart Guide to Stop Using Stupid Words.
Smart guides to stop using stupid words. And when you stop using stupid words, then you will create a wonderfully smart, fulfilling life. That is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. I want you to touch a little bit, if you don't mind, to touch a little bit on this mission. There's this mission statement. There are people who kind of wake up in the morning and they just go on the next day and the next day and the next day, as you and I know. And so why, in your words, in your mind, why is it important for us to have a mission statements for our life? I mean, we know companies has mission statement, and usually, sadly enough, in many companies, their mission statement painted on their wall, and then nobody knows what the heck it is, right? You're like, huh? What? It's like, I don't know. Let's go look up in the front office. That was always interesting. But why do you, for you, in your words, why is it important as a person, individual, every day to have a mission statement?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think to begin is to know yourself, right? I always think of The Art of War, right? The book, The Art of War. The hardest thing, one of the hardest things, the first thing, the first lesson, know yourself, right? Know yourself. Second is know your enemy, but know yourself. And the second one, know your enemy, is actually know yourself again in a certain way, because the only person you're ever fighting is yourself, right? It's an inner conflict, inner battle. You give yourself that raise, you got yourself healthy, you got yourself, everything good and everything bad was derived from yourself. And when you're deep in meditation, you understand that you're the judge and jury and the executioner at times of your own destiny, you know. So having this mission statement is because we're human, we're all human, we're all running off of these subconscious patterns, these patterns sometimes that works most of the time we're completely unaware of, that could be ingrained from when we're very young, we're 7 years old, 14 years old, and you know, we're acting out these things and we don't know, like, why do I do the things I do, or why did I react to that or to this. So it's very interesting to see that behavior, but to keep ourselves on track, we need that North Star, that guiding light, and that saying, okay, what is it and what keeps me motivated? Why? And I always say, like, well, why do, first thing I do I don't want to get too deep into, but morning routine, right, is so important. Wake up, say thank you, start off, always gratitude. I've programmed my own mind when I'm just walking or something, all I'm saying to myself is thank you, over and over. That's all that runs in the back of my head. So I have like it's like a backtrack in my brain, my subconscious, my mind, that just say thank you God, thank you God. That's my brain continuously runs a gratitude track, but and a genuine gratitude track, because I'm grateful for everything I have and every moment. And having this, starting your day with that, knowing, well, you know what, I'm gonna, again, power of intention, but knowing I'm going to change a life today, I'm going to help somebody today, I'm going to raise that universal conscious just a little bit. And then butterfly effect, you never know the people that you've helped, how you've helped somebody that's helped someone else that's had this amazing change, you know, and it's wonderful, and I've seen that, and I've had that experience with actually in music, with the song that I have. I don't know if you can see, there's a record behind me, but the #1 Billboard song that I wrote with another wonderful music producer and a singer named Maria Mato. And I wrote the music and we produced the song, and it was very successful. That's not the point. The point of the success, so yeah, we had the big #1 Billboard and all the parties and all the things and the accolades and the fun from that, and it felt good, and it boosted my ego, unfortunately, so I had to lower it again. But it was really, there was someone that sent an email, and this song is called I Try, okay, and there's a line in it, and it says and it never uses he or she, it always just says I try to make you love me, I try to make you, and if you look at this thing, it kind of can be perceived as, instead of a man talking to a woman talking to a man, or a man talking to a man, or a woman talking to a woman, it can be perceived as just purely speaking to the universe or to God, or God speaking to you. So this woman was on her way to commit suicide. She was on the way to kill herself, and she turned on the radio, and I Try was playing, and it came to her, I try to make you love me, how I try. She broke down crying, she stopped, and she did not kill herself, and she went into rehab, and she wrote an email to the other guy from Made by Monkeys, I believe, and or to the record label, saying, your song saved my life. And it just, how could you know, how could you know that? It's just amazing. So it's a butterfly effect, and we wanted always positivity. And it was Maria, it's all this lady Maria that wrote. I didn't write the lyrics, she wrote the lyrics, but I never did any songs or would do any songs that were negative, had any kind of negative or lower vibration. I just couldn't do it because I didn't want to put it out there, right?
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful, that the just sometimes we worry about many times people have this, oh, I'm living such a individual life, and how could I affect influence the world? It's kind of like thinking so small, but like you said, it's a butterfly effect. You never know when you do something and then it's influence other people. We know very well as grief coach, we know many people, like you said, like that you have somebody who is at the end of their rope, and someone on the road, on the street, just to turn around and say hi to them, and that little act of kindness stop them from taking themselves out. So, and that's just,
yeah, you will never, most of them you'll never know, you'll never hear, you'll never know the impact you had.
mm-hmm.
And I think to understand both sides of this world, and to understand, that's why it's so dangerous. Never put out negativity. You never understand how that impact could be equally destructive. A very small, small thing that seems seemingly nothing, right, could have a negative impact. So why not go positive? And I always find it strange in our culture that everyone talks about, misusing the word because it's not the right definition, but karma. Oh, it's karma, it's going to get you. So if everyone believes that the negative, why don't they do positive things? So if you do something bad is going to happen to you. So why don't you do something nice? Don't you think something nice is going to happen to you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always weird to me. Like,
That is
how do you believe in one side and not the other?
That is very interesting. That is very interesting. I from time to time I have clients doing that. I remember there was one time in a very similar way, right, talking about being positive and so forth. And this client who says, oh, we were learning about using the right, but all these things is like, yeah, okay, so you don't want to complain and this and that, and then he start complaining about other people complaining. And I just, this happened to be a one-to-one clients, not some of them in group, but this one was a one-to-one client, and I just like, as he started complaining and so forth, it's like, and then it's like this woman in my in my class, and then there is this person. It was like, and I just very quietly stay quiet. I just kind of look at him, and then at some point he stopped. He's like, I'm complaining, am I not? He's like, I'm complaining about people complaining. It's like, just like, yeah, very much. It's like, and so it's very interesting, because you would see, back to what you said about karma. People say, oh, it's karma, don't do that, and then you kind of like looking at them, you're like, how you kind of doing a similar thing?
Yeah. That's it. It's like everybody believes that if they do something bad can happen to them, but no one seems to believe if you do something good's going to happen to you. Like this is just, anyways, it's just strange. It's always been strange to me. Like, why don't you try, if you believe that so much, that if you do something bad is going to happen to you, which it's more complicated than that, but yes, it's true. It's just the timing could be very, very strange. I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole, but just start doing a bunch of nice things for people and see what happens. Go out and help them. If you don't know, there's something else that I wanted to do eventually, and on a deeper level. So when I do my channel, I do it on a certain vibrational level. When I speak to you even now, there's many things I just I'm not comfortable going publicly on about certain deep, very deep meditations, a deeper level things. But there's certain things that what I call like our secrets to life, And one of those things is that if you don't know, I'm going to give you a secret right now for your audience, okay? If you don't know what to do and you're lost, there's some secrets you could do. They're super easy. One is just give money to charity. So what I will do is I'll go, especially if I need money, but I'll go, I'm just going to go and I'll give like $25. Just give $25. I'll go online, boom, to my favorite charity, which is the Street Kids here in Montreal. So it's called Dans la Rue, or In the Street. So I'll go to Dans la Rue. I'll go to the thing. It takes me 2 seconds. My credit card's already there. Boom, just give some money. So it'll elevate me, so it'll align me. So this is one thing. Second thing, close your eyes, just start saying thank you. Gratitude. Just put yourself into gratitude. It's often, we can only think and do things from the level of vibration that we're at. and we can't see above, like above the clouds, let's say with a plane, right? You're getting above the clouds. So center yourself. Often this comes to breathing exercises. One of the things that I learned was, box breathing, 3-3-3 or 4-4-4, where you breathe in like slowly 1-2-3-4, hold 1-2-3-4, breathe out 1-2-3-4, calm anxiety, calm things like that. You use a simple technique of doing that and recenter yourself. Center your, depending on what level the person is, you can go into chakras and stuff like that. But if you don't understand, it doesn't matter, because you're going to balance them anyway. So you balance your energy, balance your mind. I will never leave my house, my condo. I'll never leave if I'm not in a higher vibration. I did it once in the last few years. I was upset. It was very, very rare. As a bunch of things happened at the same time. So I went to take a drive to leave, to get rid of all the negative energy, So I said, deep breath. I closed my computer, closed my work. I said, I'm going to take a little drive, go get some groceries, get rid of this negative energy, breathe, come back, and this like that. I had so much energy, negative energy. When I went to park, I ended up hitting a car. And it hit the car, and I knew right away, because by then I'd already brought myself back up to this level. And the woman came out, and she was swearing at me and screaming, and I just sat with a smile in peace. I could see and observe, and I said, everything will be fine. Are you fine? Yes, everything will be fine. But this, I said, okay. I just let her insult me, continue until she's finished. I just keep going. Okay, yes, okay. Doesn't matter. And I said, listen, everything, here's insurance stuff. I said, what? No problem. I said, whatever it is. I said, just tell me what it is, and I will make this right. I said, I will make it right. Don't worry, I will make it right. So I spoke to her husband on the phone. I said, it's okay. I said, I will make it right. And I said, no problem. Universe doesn't matter. Universe is just going to give it to me back. I understood the lesson. I blessed them. I realized that I had to meet them, because both sides. They can understand this. You cannot have, this is, I don't want to get too deep in conversations with God, but the victim and the person doing it, there has to be a vibrational match. Such as without. So she was sitting in her car, God knows how long, in the parking lot, waiting for this to happen. She was doing nothing. It was the weirdest thing ever. And she was not a high level. She was asleep, basically, an asleep person, right? And but that was okay. So and I went, and I said, it's okay. The universe ended up costing me $800. Okay, $800 to fix her thing. I just said to her husband, I said, it's no problem. I said, what do you want? Just tell me you want. I said, send them the money. I said, doesn't matter. I learned the lesson. The universe will just pay me the $800 back. Is nothing. And I blessed them, and I wished them well. And I turned her from getting mad at me, all this stuff, and then at the end, I just kept on sending her love and joy. And at the end, she said, oh, you should wear a scarf because it's cold. I don't want you to get cold. So then she was trying to take care of me after. I said, just because it's impossible. It's bulletproof when you only have one thing, right? When, like you said, joy in this vibrational level, love is it's something else. It's to embrace that, truly embrace that.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. For some of the audience who might not be familiar what Andrew talking about with this vibrational level, this is again in the book Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. But Andrew is referring into this. I don't know if you can see it. Yep, you can see it right there. This chart here and this graph here, it's adapted from Dr. David Hawkins' book, is actually it shows where our different emotions sits on that graph that you just saw. And emotions such as, like you said, the anger and the guilt, it's on the lower vibrational energy, while, like you say, if you don't know what to do, you're feeling lost, you say thank you, it's because you are at the higher energy or vibration level, and that will allow you to be able to kind of think more clearly, because that's the way the universe does. I use this actually part of my teaching with my clients. That's why I have it in such a systematic way. But that is something that is so beautiful. That's very true. And I love that. It's very interesting. You mentioned really briefly just now one of the secret of life. If you if you you feel lost or you're uncertain or you need something, one of the things you mentions you do is you actually to donate, to give money. And I think you mentioned briefly, correct me if I catch it wrong, you do that particularly when you need money.
Yeah. The biggest thing, if I need money, I give money. Absolutely.
And that for many people can be counterintuitive, you know. I mean, people's like, what do you mean I give money when I need money? I want all the money that I have and I need more, but why would I be giving money? What would you say to that?
You know, let me answer that with a story. Do I have we have enough time for another stories? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So many years ago, I was always doing music, and starving musician, right? Like they say, starving musician. So I had $50 left, okay, to my name. I had no more money, nothing, no in my checkings, nothing. I had $50 cash. So I sat back and I said, wow, I made a lot of mistakes to get to this point, you know? So I sat with this $50 and I said, what should I do with it? I said, I could buy ground beef and some bread and, you know, to eat. I could, you know, this would be good. How long can I get by with this? I can use X amount for gas so I can go somewhere, you know, maybe borrow some money from somebody or something. I said, you know, so I started thinking these different things. And then I started meditating. And I said, okay, you know, what is God trying to teach me? What is the universe trying to teach me? I said, what should I do with the money? And I thought of it. I said, I'm going to give it away. And I got in my car. I had enough gas. I got in my car and I drove. I used to teach at a Kung Fu center and used to do Tai Chi. And the guy there, his name is Sergio, and he was very good. He's a good man, good heart. And I knew that he was doing some programs to take like kind of like street kids or people who couldn't afford it, to help them, to get them into martial arts and get them like discipline and, you know, help them in their life path. So I drove there and I took the $50 I had and I gave it to him. And I said, I want you to use this to help a child, you know, to enroll a child, to help a child to you know, to make a difference in their life. I didn't tell him it's my last $50 in the world. I just gave it to him. And I said, this is the thing. And I said to myself, I said, thank you, universe. When will I ever have the opportunity to give away all my money? Right? It's a pretty hard thing, right? If I said to you, you know, hey, why don't you give away 10% of your wealth? Yeah, you could probably do it. You meditate and God says to you, you're going to get mad at me for saying this. Hey, give away 50% of your wealth. It's a pretty big challenge, right? But if you hear God, you're going to do it. Give away 100% of all your wealth. Oof, this is difficult, but it's much easier when you only have $50, right? That's all you have. So I looked at it. I said, I'll never have this opportunity to give all the money in the world, every penny I have, to give it away. So I did. I gave the money away. I left the studio. This is a true story. On the way back, I get a phone call, and so I pick up my phone, old crappy cell phone, and somebody I know, a friend of mine, he's calling me and he says, you know, what are you doing for work these days? I said, oh, you know, not much. He says, oh, because, you know, as you know, I just built my new hip hop music studio, and I want you to come and be a producer at my studio, and I have all the budget aside, and I want to hire you to work, you know, doing that. I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. He said, you could come in even today, and I'll start paying you from today if you want, right away. And that was it. And I worked there for about almost 2.5, 3 years.
Wow.
Working, yeah. And yeah, it was just amazing. But you know, that's the power. Like how much.
And then we went from there to reach billboards, and I know you were traveling abroad and all these kind of things too.
Yeah, that's pure, like so many times I say this, and sometimes I say I shouldn't say it to close people that are very close to me, but I just tell them you lack faith. Like have more faith, right? When people are like, when they worry, I'm like, why are you worrying? I say, you know, and not to get too deep and stuff, but like, you know, you have guides. Yes, or this is depending on who you're speaking with. You know, you have guides, you know, you have angels, you know that God is watching over you, you know that you reap what you sow and you're doing good things. So why are you worrying? Right?
Yeah.
And I literally just tell them, you lack faith. that's what it is. You lack faith. You lack faith in yourself. You lack faith in God. I know that God watches over me. The universe watches over me. I know these things. And then perceivable, that's the thing, is when we're stuck in this human experience, what's perceivable as bad luck is often good luck. So this can be, oh, this bad thing happened. Is it bad though? You know, was it that perception is also time. It seems bad today, but in a few years from now, you can be like, oh, that was actually really good that happened, right? And a lot of people, and you know, I know that you actually also have a lot of people have a very difficult story to lead them to the right path, you know, to get them onto that right path. And when you go through that, it's so many wonderful people actually, that when I was doing all these webinars and stuff, you know, so many people like I admire, like yourself, have been through these huge challenges. And I think that's how you earn that faith and earn that courage and get onto this path. And then you look back and you say, that was one of the most difficult times in my life. And that was also the best thing that could have ever happened to me spiritually.
Yeah, definitely. I would say many people went through, including a lot of people who has so-called big names, you know, whether it's Mary Morrissey, which you mentioned earlier. Many people heard the name Bob Proctor, and so on and so forth. It's Napoleon Hill says that every adversity, every heartbreak, every failures carries in it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, right? But the thing is, a lot of people forget that it's a seed and not a package wrapped in a bow, and then they're like, oh gosh, this is just horrible, and then everything. And so that is so wonderful message that you have in the short time that we have. So how do people connect with you? What are your channels so they can continue learning from you and the secret of life and your precious 90 seconds of wisdom?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would love for everyone to, you know, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. So you can Google 90 Seconds of Wisdom. There is another channel called 90 Seconds of Wisdom. And I think in that person's credit, they had it before me. So I just didn't realize. So like maybe their channel's great too. So maybe check out theirs as well. I don't know. But mine, you'll always see it branded with the same colors. You can Google my name. So my name is Andrew Kapur, Kapur. And if you Google it, you'll see my book, you'll see my music, you'll see my, you know, YouTube channels. If you look at videos, so yeah, and maybe we can leave a link somewhere for that. But yeah, it's called 90 Seconds of Wisdom, and yeah, it's really something that I'm super passionate about with one intention. It's just how can I help people, and as you said, it's with give me 90 seconds once a week, and I promise you, after X amount of weeks, you're gonna see a shift and a change. And I've had some really wonderful feedback and stories from people that have had, again, huge impacts I couldn't even have ever thought of from watching a video.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That is so awesome. Do you have, as we are completing our discussions today, is there one final message that you have for our listener, our audience, our viewer?
Well, I think I have two messages. One is everyone should go out and buy your book. And everyone should learn to be joyful and to dance and to release that and live in that vibration. And just, even if you can do it, you know, once a week, once a month, whatever you can, just get to that level that you talk about, that you help people get to, I think is so wonderful. Having a coach like somebody like yourself can improve your life and speed up what might take somebody 7 years or never to get to. You might be able to get them there in a few weeks, a few months, or even one session, possibly. You can, you know, so this, I'm a huge believer in wonderful coaches like yourself, in people that have helped me. That's why I did all the webinars, all the things. The wisdom that's been there is we know it's wisdom that's been there through the ages, whether it's somebody new like Eckhart Tolle, amazing guy, but this wisdom, it's reframing, it's repackaging, it's things that were written in ancient Asian cultures, Indian culture, thousands of years ago are known. We've lost our way as humans. And I think that it's important to find our way back. It's important to understand the illusion of life, that, and not to get tricked by all of that, and to see what's really important, and to live, I would say, in that fashion. If you could keep in your mind to always invest in that spiritual bank. And how do you do that? Help other people, just be a nice person, be a kind person, live in joy. You'll see the results too. You can't help but it'll be returned to you. So when you do something, if you believe you do something bad, it returns sevenfold. When you do something good, it returns sevenfold. So just do good stuff. Be a good person, do good stuff, smile, love yourself. Starts with self-love. So, be kind to yourself, be kind to others.
That is so wonderful. Do what you want onto others. Do to yourself. But do it yourself first, and that's doing some good thing. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you for this wonderful, beautiful message that you have, and everyone. I would encourage you very strongly to check out. It's a very easy, like Andrew said, it's a very simple, very straightforward book. Even simpler than the book Andrew mentions. My book is Seeking Peace. That one's just using story-based and entertaining and fun to read. But Andrew's books it's even more simple to read. It's very easy, and if you follow what he says in the book, what he shares with you, and watch his YouTube videos only once a week, that will definitely help you improve your life significantly and the life of your loved ones. So thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you for sharing your tips with us today. And for you, my friends who are listening to this, please share one or two gold nuggets in the comments so we can continue learning from each other. And thank you for joining. Please share this podcast, this recording, with your friends and family so they too can thrive and triumph. And this is Dr. Birgitte Tan, your grief transformation specialist for individual and businesses, founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity, and United States country chair of G100 All Ladies League. And you, my friend, make it a thriving life. And I look forward to see you again next week, same place at the same time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye for now.